What really happens when your heart stops beating? This is a question that has intrigued humanity since time immemorial, and perhaps the answer is closer than we imagine. Imagine for a moment having your life suddenly cut short, feeling your body fade away, and at the same time, realizing that your consciousness continues, as if death were just the beginning of something even greater. This is exactly what a woman experienced when, after being declared clinically dead for a few minutes, she returned to tell of an extraordinary experience that defies the logic of science and opens doors to profound reflections on spirituality, life after death, and the mystery of existence. She describes in rich detail the moment she left her body, the indescribable feeling of peace, and the encounter with beings of light that many would call angels. What you're about to discover may surprise you, because this isn't just a simple story, but an account that echoes thousands of near-death experiences recorded around the world. Have you ever experienced this, or know someone who has? These testimonies make us question whether there is, in fact, a greater purpose behind everything we call life. As science searches for rational explanations, stories like this continue to spark curiosity, emotion, and above all, hope. Stay with me until the end, because this story may change the way you view death and what lies beyond it. Prepare to immerse yourself in an intense journey, where the boundary between this world and the next seems to disappear, revealing a path that few have had the chance to travel and return to share. And as you listen to this story, perhaps something inside you will also awaken memories, feelings, or even questions that have never been answered. If this topic resonates with you, leave a comment below with what touched you most, or even an experience you've had or heard from someone close to you. Each shared story creates a bridge between us and helps build a community where no one feels alone in the face of these profound questions. And look, if this message has touched your heart in any way, don't forget to like this video. It may seem like a small gesture, but that's exactly what makes this content reach more people who are also searching for hope, faith, and answers. And if you want to continue following stories like this, which connect us with something bigger and make us reflect on the meaning of life, please subscribe to the channel. Your participation here is what makes this space grow and increasingly become a place of sharing, acceptance, and inspiration. Now, returning to this woman's experience, it is in the instant after she disconnects from her body that she begins to describe something that defies any logical explanation. She clearly remembers the moment when everything seemed to stop. Her heart slowed to absolute silence, and her body no longer responded to any commands. It was at that moment that the strangest sensation arose. There was no pain, no heaviness, just a gentle detachment, as if she had been removed from within herself. The initial shock came not from the fear of death, but from the surprise of still being conscious even after losing all vital signs. It was as if I had crossed an invisible border, a boundary between what we call reality and something that, until then, seemed unreachable. The most curious detail is that she could perceive everything happening around her. She heard hurried voices, felt the movement of doctors trying to revive her, but at the same time, she was no longer attached to her body. This duality brought a mixture of amazement and peace. The fear, which could have been overwhelming, gave way to a kind of acceptance. As if, instead of a tragic end, I were facing a beginning. This realization opened an internal space for profound transformation, because what seemed like the greatest loss became a discovery. Life doesn't end where human logic believes. Now I want to delve even deeper into this subject, because what this woman describes goes beyond clinical experience. She speaks of a journey measured not in minutes, but in revelations. A kind of backstage experience of existence, where the rules we know no longer apply. The hidden truth behind this moment is not erasure, but rather an awakening to something greater, a realm where our decisions, memories, and feelings seem to take on new meaning. It's as if this unexpected crossing reveals that every detail of our journey has an impact, and that even death can be seen as part of a journey of transformation. Comment there, that makes sense to me. Suddenly, that seemingly endless silence transformed into something completely different. She describes the sensation of being gently led into a space where there was no longer darkness, only an enveloping clarity that seemed to pulse with life. It was as if I had passed through an invisible door and found a tunnel of light so intense and yet so welcoming that no human words could convey it. The pain disappeared, the weight on my body was gone, and for the first time, I felt a peace that surpassed any earthly experience. The curious thing is that this light wasn't just ahead, like a distant destination. It completely enveloped her, as if it were part of her. This realization brought a powerful revelation. Perhaps what we call the end is actually the beginning of a broader journey, where consciousness frees itself and finds a state of fulfillment impossible to describe with logic or science. Many people report this same tunnel of light phenomenon, But for her, the impact was personal, intimate, as if she had been welcomed by something that knew her deeply. This changes one's mindset, because the idea of being alone ceases to exist. The feeling was of belonging, of being connected to something much greater than any individual life could explain. This light seemed to carry with it a hidden truth, as if every detail revealed that there is more purpose than we imagine in our choices, our decisions, and even our pain. It was a silent call to see that life is not just biology, but a journey of transformation. What she found along this path defies human logic and opens doors to revelations that directly touch the essence of the soul. Comment there, this makes sense to me. As she was enveloped by that indescribable light, she realized she was not alone. Figures began to appear before her, not with rigid forms as we know them, but with a radiant presence that conveyed love and security. She describes these beings as angels, messengers from a dimension where everything vibrates in harmony. There were no words, but every gesture, every luminous gaze communicated a clear message of welcome, as if she were being guided on a journey carefully prepared for her. The impact of this vision was so profound that her sense of fear completely disappeared. In its place was born an absolute confidence, as if she were exactly where she was always meant to be. These angels seemed made of living light, with an energy that wasn't limited by space. It was as if every detail of the environment breathed with them. The scenery expanded, revealing a space she described as heaven. Not a physical sky, full of clouds and horizons, but a vibrant reality, where colors never seen on Earth blended in constant movement. Everything seemed charged with meaning, as if every particle were made of purpose and love. This experience shattered any limited notion of reality. It was impossible not to feel that she was confronted with a hidden truth, something that human eyes cannot see, but which, at the same time, seemed more real than anything she had ever experienced in her earthly existence. What she described wasn't just an encounter with angels or a vision of heaven, but a revelation about the essence of life. This experience showed that our decisions, our pain, and even our silences are part of a journey much greater than we imagine. And the impact of this vision not only remained in memory, but became a milestone of transformation, forever changing the mindset of those who lived it and those who hear its story. Comment there, that makes sense to me. She says that, amid the indescribable beauty of that place, she heard a clear message, though no words were spoken. It was as if the light itself was communicating with her, transmitting an understanding directly to her consciousness. It was not yet her time. There was a mission to be fulfilled, something that needed to be experienced back on Earth. This revelation brought a mixture of surprise and resistance. After all, who would choose to leave behind absolute peace, the embrace of angels, and a sense of fulfillment? And yet, she felt she had no choice. The journey was not yet complete, and as much as her soul longed to remain in that state, there was a greater reason to return. The transition was abrupt. From the gentle warmth of the light to the sudden weight of her physical body. From the serene silence to the intense noise of machines and voices all around. She describes this shock as feeling like she'd been plunged back into icy waters after experiencing the warmth of an infinite embrace. Her heart raced, her lungs burned for air, and every cell in her body seemed to wake violently. But along with the impact also came clarity. This wasn't just a return, it was a rebirth. She returned bringing with her not just memories, but a transformation of mindset, a certainty that every decision, every gesture, and every moment in life has a far greater impact than we imagine. Now I want to delve even deeper into this subject, because this return wasn't just physical. It was like crossing a border and bringing with it revelations from behind the scenes of existence. The message that she had a mission to fulfill ignited an unshakable sense of purpose within her, as if life had been redefined in its essence. Comment there, this makes sense to me. When she opened her eyes back to the physical world, everything seemed simultaneously the same and completely different. The cold room, the beeping machines, the looks of relief on the faces around her. None of it was new, but the way she began to see every detail was as if she had stepped through an invisible portal and returned with a new awareness. The simple act of breathing became a gift, and even the pain of being once again trapped by the limitations of the body took on new meaning. This experience was not only an extraordinary episode in her life, but a key that unlocked revelations about existence, about what truly matters, and about how each daily choice carries an impact far beyond what we can perceive. What's most striking about stories like this is that they recur across cultures, eras, and circumstances. Men, women, children, and people of different faiths describe the same pattern. The sensation of disconnecting from the body, the tunnel of light, profound peace, the presence of luminous beings, and the certainty that life goes on. It's as if there were a hidden truth that insists on revealing itself to those who cross this threshold for a few minutes and then return. This makes us reflect on the fragility of our materialistic vision and invites us to question whether we are not living only on the surface of reality, while the behind-the-scenes of existence remains before us, invisible but profoundly real. Now I'd like to delve deeper into this topic, because thinking about these near-death experiences isn't just a curiosity. It's an invitation to transform our mindset, to rethink our decisions, and to understand that perhaps death isn't an endpoint, but part of a larger journey. This possibility opens space for hope, purpose, and a new way of seeing life itself. Is death not the end, but merely a passage? This is the question that resonates as we delve into these stories that touch the soul and remind us that there is much more beyond what meets the eye. Comment there, "That makes sense to me." If you've made it this far, it's because this topic resonated with you in some way. So it makes sense for us to continue this journey together. Take advantage and subscribe to the channel, because here I always bring content that helps expand your perspective on life, death, and the mysteries that surround us. Please also leave a like, not just as support, but because it shows that this connection resonated with you and helps this message reach those who also need to hear it. And if you really stuck it out, comment, "I'm with you until the end," so I know you're part of this journey with an open heart. There's a video here on the side that also talks about this same type of subject. Click and continue with me there.